The upside down world, and what does it have to do with abortion? Well, today we're going to talk about the beginning of season 3 of Stranger Things, and when hormones are shining and relationships are developing, and a lot of smooching and working at the mall. I can remember all of that. Can you remember all of that? Yeah. And just as innocent as that is, it should have remained innocent. But like a lot of us, it did not remain innocent. We found ourselves engaging in sex. And honestly, we were not equipped for that. Because parents seems to think that we just know, better. They don't understand the pressure. They forget when they were teenagers, conveniently. And it is so important. It is so important to teach your children about boundaries and your value in God. Because if children don't know their value in God, when something bad happens, when bullying happens, when pregnancy happens, we don't have a lot to hold on to if we don't feel loved by God. Because there's going to be times when we're afraid to talk about anything. And without knowing that God loves us during these times when we do things that we shouldn't be doing, it can be a very tragic and lonely place. And it was for me, and I know that it was for a lot of you. So in high school, yeah, boys are fun, girls are fun, and smooching is okay, and holding hands. But you know what the really important thing to happen with the opposite sex as teenagers is developing communication and trust. Because if you don't develop those things early on, then when it comes to sex, you're not going to have enough to hold the relationship together like glue. Just not. So you have to have a trust developed, and trust comes from communication and testing boundaries and letting and seeing and letting the other person reveal themselves to you of who they really are. And that tells the other that they're safe with that person or they're not safe with that person. And so I did not learn that. I was a geek in public school. I wasn't dating anybody. And then all of a sudden, high school, I became popular like overnight. And I didn't know what to do with it. And I didn't know how to have conversations. And that led me to dating somebody older than me, like 4 years older than me, which should never have happened because that person was sexually active and I wasn't. Well, guess what's going to happen, right? Yeah, you guessed it. And that happens a lot because women, well, teenage girls mature faster than teenage boys. Okay, it just is that way. I don't know why, but it just is. And um, when an older boy is attracted to you, it's a real confidence booster. But it's not a confidence booster when they're wanting to take the relationship farther and you're not ready and you don't know how to set a boundary, but you like the guy. So then you feel forced to do something you don't want to do. And then you do something you don't want to do. And next thing you know, within a couple of months, he doesn't want to be with you anymore. Funny how that works. But if the parents taught their children boundaries, life would be very different for boys and girls. I really, really believe that. And it has to start young. They have to teach their children young how valuable they are. And for some parents, they don't know how to do that. But if they could at least let them know that God loves them no matter what, because there's many verses in the Bible that talks about just how valuable he thinks you are. And that just needs to be ingrained in our minds. It's programming. Just like Stranger Things is programming. And you can program good things into our minds. Just like that. Pretty easy to do. So I think that what happens is when we start getting sexually active young, we're not equipped properly. We don't know how to have communication properly. We don't know how to, we start thinking that sex is what you do, that that's an automatic, and you don't even know that you're supposed to wait. You don't even know that you're not supposed to do it right away because you don't know better. And I know that sounds really stupid, but it's true. And I think boys and girls do this. And that's how pregnancy happens. And if we're not taught young about our bodies, about our boundaries, and about proper etiquette, these things are going to happen. Pregnancy is going to happen. I don't understand why high schools hand out condoms and talk about sex, but they don't teach anything about boundaries and self-love and communication. And I think that is deliberate. Just like I think it's deliberate that women are not supported very, very much when they are pregnant. They are not supported to keep their baby. It's still frowned upon, and it shouldn't be. I mean, look how quickly transgenderism came in. Look how quickly same-sex marriage came in when Obama signed that deal, or whatever you want to call it, on December 25th. I don't know if it was 2016. I don't know exactly, but it was like overnight. It was like you couldn't say anything wrong about it. You couldn't even have an opinion against it. But why aren't they doing that the same for women who are pregnant? Why isn't there a law for them, for us, so that we can feel more confident to have our child, to raise a child alone? Why are we not protected with those same rules that apply to transgenderism and same-sex marriages? Because they have an agenda and they make a lot of money from abortion. That's why. And we need to smarten up, and we need to see the truth. We need to see the truth. And this isn't about what's that slogan, my body, my choice? No, you know what? It's not even about that, because that's all you got. That's the slogan. That's all you got. Are you kidding me? It's pretty empowering for a single woman to have a baby. That is probably the most empowering thing I ever see. When I see a woman pregnant and she's going to keep her baby, I want to say, you are a warrior. You are a warrior. Nothing impresses me more than seeing that. She's gone up against the world because you know what? I didn't have the confidence to do that. No, I did not. And I'm ashamed of that because it stole 25 years of my life until I was healed. And I got nothing to show for it. You know, I don't have a 25-year-old daughter or son. And so, yeah, more power to the woman for choosing to raise their child. My body, my choice is the stupidest slogan I think that's out there. I really did. You don't want to have your baby, fine, but don't call it empowerment, and don't call it, oh, my career is more important. No, the truth was, for me, I was afraid what people would think, and I was raised a certain way on how I saw myself, my perception of myself, and we'll get into that another time. But um, there is a lot. You know, I remember. You know what? No, I was going to go down a. I was going to go down a road, but I'm not going to go down there. I think that's all I'm going to talk about today. We're just over 11 minutes, and I think that's a good time. So we'll see you in episode 4. Have a good one.